All right, welcome back to part 2 video in simplifying the expression by substituting -2 and a +3 for x and for y. So again, where we left off in writing and setting up the exponential power. There were no parentheses or anything inside the parentheses. There was an exponent, and it was a -2 to the second power. That simply means -2 times -2. I'm showing you here. So in this next step in simplifying, following the order of operations, again, you want to ask yourself, are there any parentheses, right? So you always ask the PEMDAS with each new simplification step. Another thing I want to point out is some of you may see, hey, we can divide here, right? We might be able to divide that -2 and that -2 into 1. Wouldn't that make things easier? Well, I want to say the order of operations for the numerator, or the top part of the fraction, PEMDAS, followed in the order, PEMDAS. And then the bottom part, the denominator, is its own separate PEMDAS, right? And so you follow the order of operations PEMDAS for the denominator, or the bottom part of this fraction. If that didn't make sense, just hold tight. I'm going to go through these steps and simplify very simply moving forward. So we simplified the exponent. -2 squared is -2 times -2. So let me ask yourself, is there any simplification that can be done inside any of these parentheses on top? Yeah, I could simplify -2 times a -2. I'm going to simplify these values in here. I look at the denominator. Anything in the parentheses I can do? No. Any exponents I can simplify? No. Can I multiply or divide in the denominator, the bottom part of the fraction? No, you cannot. Can you add or subtract? No. So I'm simply going to simplify the what's inside the parentheses, -2 times a -2. And then everything else I rewrite. The -2 times the 3 divided by -2. And again, don't forget that +7 to the right. And I want to show that to you here now. So a -2 times a -2 is a +4. Okay, let me ask you, in this next step in simplifying the expression, in the top part of the fraction, are there any parentheses or anything inside that we can simplify? No. Are there any exponents in the top part of that fraction? No. Can I multiply or divide in the top part of the fraction? Yes, I can multiply -2 times the 3, which I will do in just a moment. Now let me ask you, in the bottom part of the fraction, is there anything inside the parentheses I can simplify? No. Any exponents? No. Can I multiply or divide in the base? No. Can I add or subtract? No. So I'm only going to simplify this one step, and then everything else I'm going to rewrite it so you can see. What is -2 times a +3? Okay, so a -2 times a +3 gives me -6. Everything else I rewrote. The +4, divisor bar, -2 in the denominator's place, and don't forget to bring down that +7. Now, one thing I want to point out, this is a -6, okay? And I like to share with people, you could put a plus sign between any two terms for plus a -6. It only clarifies. It will not change anything. It'll help you understand how to simplify these integers. All right, so let's ask yourself, with this step, we start over. Any parentheses? No, in the top part of the fraction. Any exponents in the top part of the fraction? No. Can I multiply or divide in the top part of the fraction? No. Can I add or subtract? Absolutely. I can add 4 plus a -6. Now I'm going to ask myself the same questions in the denominator, which I've already done. There's nothing in parentheses, no exponents, no multiplying or dividing, no adding or subtracting. So what I will do is I will simplify 4 plus a -6, and then everything else, the -2 in the denominator, that +7, I'm going to rewrite. Okay, and I want to show you this particular step. 4 plus a negative 6 divided by negative 2 plus 7. Okay, everything else I just rewrote. I just add that plus 7 to show you this particular step. Okay, 4 plus a negative 6. I always like to look at this like money, right? I have $4. I had to borrow a negative 6 amount of money. How much do I owe you? Negative 2. So 4 plus negative 6 is negative 2. Everything else I rewrite. The divisor bar, the negative 2, and the plus 7. Now, in this particular step here, all right, I'm going to include now that the denominator and the numerator, the top and the bottom parts of the fraction, have been simplified. You can consider this positive 7 in these last steps. All right. Are there any parentheses in this particular problem? No. Any exponents in this particular problem? No. Can you multiply or divide? Yes. Every fraction is a division problem. So negative 2 divided by negative 2. Negative divided by negative is a positive, or anything over itself is always going to be 2 over 2 will always be what? That would be a positive 1. Now I've brought down that positive 7 from above. No parentheses, no exponents, no multiplying or dividing. Can I add or subtract? I absolutely can. 1 plus 7 equals 8. So you ask that PEMDAS question with each and every step, and you'd want to practice order of operations as well. So the answer is C. The answer is C. Now, I'd like to give you some strategies and suggestions on how to search the internet for worksheets, practice worksheets with answers. All right, so here are some strong suggested internet search topics for worksheets with answers in order to increase your knowledge, your skills, and your abilities when it comes to these type of questions. And so you can substitute into this area here any of the stars below. So do an internet search for worksheets with answers on, and then substitute these topics. You want answers because you want to know if you're doing it right or wrong. Check your answer. If you're doing it wrong, look at your steps, figure out what you did wrong, and learn from it. Don't do it again. So you want to work on simplifying expression using substitution property. You want to work on simplifying the expression using the order of operations. That's the PEMDAS that we are working on. All right, you want to simplify the exponent values, simplifying exponential values. Okay. And then, of course, you can watch my videos. I have a number of them on the order of operation, or PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. She had some beans last night. She's feeling a little gassy today. That's a great way to remember parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, or subtract. Math is easy. Thank you for joining me. Take it step by step. If these videos have helped you, please help me to help others. Like, follow, share, and subscribe.